Chapter 9. Nightmare. He waited that night for Shepnuset, waiting with foreboding. The words of Amos rang in his head. Treason and murder. Men in high places. There was a soft breeze from the river, making the lamps flicker and the shadows dance. He looked about the chamber. He touched the little tables, touched his special chair. He took comfort in the strong, smooth wood. He had a strange feeling, as if he were saying goodbye. A hawk had cried that night, after the dark. Was it an omen? What was the matter with him? Nothing had happened. This was a night like any other. It would be many days before the army arrived from Cush. There were many days of happiness in this chamber left to him. Where was Shepnu? There were voices outside, the voice of the guard captain. No one is permitted to speak to the god tonight. He could not believe what he had heard. He was across the room in an instant and at the door, flinging it wide. Amos was there, and, in the shadows, Shepnuset. Facing them, barring their way, was the captain. He had drawn his sword. How dare you? At the sound of Taharka's voice, the captain swung around. He fell back a little, instinctively shielding his eyes. How dare you draw your sword before the priestess of the sun? The man was cringing now, but Taharka could sense again that shadow of insolence, stronger now. I have had my orders. Give me the sword. The man hesitated. On your knees. Slowly the man collapsed. What will become of the god when men no longer fear him? Mbuta had said. He held out the sword. Taharka took it from his hand, staring at it as if at some strange and alien object. Amos spoke for the first time. Bring him inside. Taharka gestured with the sword. The man sidled into the room. The others followed. My lord, said Amos. He was holding out his hand, never taking his eyes from the captain. Taharka, with a sudden shudder, handed him the sword. Go to the window, my lord. Look down into the court. Taharka crossed the chamber and drew back the long red draperies, looking down to where his guard patrolled. A feeling of nightmare settled over him. Those are not my guard, he said. I've never seen them before. And there are a great many of them, said Amos grimly. He touched the captain with the sword. Who gave you your orders? My high captain of 100. And who gave them to him? The man was thoroughly cowed now. I don't know anything else, I swear. He's lying, said Amos. It doesn't matter, said Shepnuset. I know where the orders came from. Tell us what you know, my lady. We may not have much time. I was in Isis's chapel. I heard two priestesses whispering. One of them was the wife of the high priest. I heard her say, it will not be a sacrilege, not before the marriage. Besides, this one was never the god. And the other one said, even gods fall sometimes. We are your servants, lady, and the servants of our lord the high priest. I didn't understand, but it frightened me. What does it mean? It means, said Amos, that the king is in grave danger. His voice was low and tense, as if he were repeating the climax of an old, familiar story. It means that there is treason in the highest places in the land. It means that whatever is to happen must happen before the marriage, and the marriage is in 2 days, and this very night Pharaoh's guard has been replaced by strangers. It means that my lord must leave this place, tonight. Taharka stared at him. The hawk. An omen. A true omen? He felt numb. He felt nothing at all. This was not really happening. Shepnuset said, I will call my bodyguard. They will defend him. Too few and too risky, decided Amos. He must flee the danger. The captain was edging toward the door. Amos swung upon him, sword in hand. Don't move, he said. And to Taharka, we will need some rope. The curtains, said Taharka. With a small knife from one of the tables, he sliced off a length of cord. Can you tie a safe knot? Said Amos. The sword was at the captain's throat. I can do it, said the king. He bound the captain's arms behind him. He had made a good job of it. He thought as if he were watching someone else. It was as if someone outside him were telling him what to do. Mbuta or his warrior fathers. For a moment, it did not even seem strange. Amos looked about the chamber. There was a chest of ebony, its lid weighted with the image of a hippopotamus. Amos, with Shepnu's help, removed the lid. Inside, he said to the captain, and the captain, as best he could with his bound arms, clambered in. The lid was set back in place. They'll find him, said Amos, but not too soon. The three of them stood still, looking at each other. All the doors will be guarded, said Taharka at last. How do we get out? If I had known, said Shepnu, I would have brought Kefmos. Kefmos? The guard at the Holy of Holies? I saved him once when the high priest would have had him beaten and he fought them. Now he does whatever I command. He says he was once a cat burglar. Taharka had a crazy urge to laugh. A cat burglar? But Amos's eyes had brightened. A cat burglar? Yes, and there is the story of our great king, David. They sent assassins one night to watch him and slay him in the morning, but his wife came to warn him. She let him down through a window, and so he escaped. The windows lead down into the court. We must go over the roof. Amos was at the windows already. Rip, rip, rip. The long red draperies, high as the shadowed ceilings, came tumbling down. The cords, too. Bed linens. Get to work, great lady. To work, my lord. We have no time. They set themselves to the task at hand, gathering what they could find. They tore and twisted and knotted until a rope began to emerge. Pull, pull, said Amos. The knots must hold. Will it be long enough? Said Shepnu. It will have to be. There was a stirring in the courtyard. Look down, my lord. See what is happening. Taharka took to the shadows by the window. A priest is here. He's talking to them. Now they are talking among themselves. Now they are still. Their captain has given them an order. He stiffened suddenly. They're moving inside. So, said Amos, time has run out. Whatever is to happen will happen soon. Roll up our ladder. It's time to go. Get rid of your jewels, my lord. My jewels? My rings? My sacred collar? Everything. Your face is not known. I thank my God now for that taboo. There must be nothing to identify you. Taharka stripped them off. He stood in the middle of the chamber of the god. A god no longer, just an ordinary Cushite boy in his simple linen kilt. He could not believe this was real. But Shepnu was real. For just a moment the old dream of freedom stirred him, like a breeze from the river. Shepnu, he said, come with me. This is our chance. The only chance we'll ever have to be together. This is our chance to try. But practical, irreverent Shepnu, who laughed at the taboos, at the formal speeches and intricate ceremony, shook her head. The people. I'm the priestess, she said simply. Then I will stay too. I am Pharaoh. Hurry, they will kill you, and then what good will you be? But whoever they are, they wouldn't dare touch me. I was born what I am. You're not consecrated yet. My lord, said Amos, you must come, quickly. Besides, said Shepnu, somebody has to be here to fight them. Somebody has to search them out. And, she said fiercely, you will be consecrated. You will return, when the army arrives from Cush. Yes, the army. Shabbataka, his brother. He had forgotten. It would not be long before his men would arrive. My lord, said Amos, one way or another, we have to go. Now. Yes, now. Shepnu was urging him toward the stairs. Go in. She gestured toward the ebony box. When you have had enough time, I will tell them where to find this one. A long time, she added grimly. Come, my lord, said Amos. Save yourself so that some day you may see her again. Hurry, or we're both lost. The makeshift rope coiled over his shoulder. He led the way to the stone staircase. Like someone in a dream, Taharka followed him. He felt lost, outside himself. Someone else was walking in his body. He saw Shepnu, the tears on her face. Then she passed out of sight. They must not be seen from the ground. Crouching low, they crept to the wall at the edge of the roof. Beyond it was another roof leading to an outer wall of the great house, down into the great temple complex. We'll have to jump. Can you make it? He remembered Mbuta. A soldier has to jump streams and gorges. Practice the long jump, every day a little farther. He could make it. He just made it. Amos caught him as he teetered on the edge. Yes, this is real, he thought, shaking as he stared down into the space between the roofs. No time, said Amos. No time. He led the way to the edge of the second roof. Far below were the gardens of the sacred precinct. People, priests, altar boys, worshippers, wandered about, to and fro, absorbed in their own affairs. What if they see us? Whispered Taharka. Why should they look up? Said Amos. Besides, with the torches down there, they can't see much up here. The light blinds them. There was a niche in the wall near the corner. If you pressed close enough to the wall, it too offered some protection from the eyes below. Here, around a small image of Horus built up from the wall, Amos attached the rope. Taharka was in no mood to object to the sacrilege. Besides, Horus the hawk had always been his special deity. Perhaps he would protect him now. Wait till I reach the ground, then follow, said Amos. Slowly, hand over hand, muscles straining, Amos went down the rope. On and on. Forever it seemed to Taharka. Was it long enough? Would it hold? It held, and it was long enough, though he could see that Amos had to drop some distance before he hit the ground. He was not hurt. He looked up, nodded, and beckoned him down. Taharka grasped the rope. He could feel it wavering, his feet clutching desperately for the wall. They found it, then instinctively grasped the rope. He felt steadier. The shaking quieted. He could do it. His hands and feet were telling him what to do. Down and down, never looking at the ground. The thoughts raced in his head. Had they come to the chamber? Had Shepnu told them he was sleeping and must not be disturbed? Would they dare to face her down? Shepnu! Would she be safe? Would he ever see her again? The Assyrians! He must come through this. He must stand against them. He had come to the end of the rope. Now he must look down, gauging the distance. It seemed a long way down, but again he had no choice. He whispered one prayer to Horus and let himself drop. His whole body was jarred and shaken, but he knew at once that he was unhurt. Nothing was broken, nothing injured. Amos helped him to his feet. They stood for a moment in the shelter of the niche while Taharka got his breath and the strength returned to his shaking legs. "How are you, my lord?" "I don't know. Strange. I've never felt like this before. What are we going to do?" "First of all," said Amos, "when we leave this wall, you are no longer my lord. You are no longer Taharka." And he added, "What name will you have?" This isn't real, thought the young god. No, this won't last long. The army will be here soon. They'll search out this little nest of traitors, paid by foreign spies. There will be a terrible uproar when they find that I am gone, and when they hear that I am alive. Still, for now, he thought of Shepnu and Shabbataka, of the name they had always called him. He thought of his special deity. After all, in a way this was an adventure. For however long, he would make the most of it. Think of it as a kind of game sent by gods to test him. "Call me Haru," he said at last. "Haru Hawk," said Amos. "A good name, my Haru. So here we go, out into the world."